Good afternoon, everybody. You are now tuned in to Seize the Cure Radio on the Bomb Baby Radio Network. I am TJ Vita, aka Tara Gibson, and I am the host for this show. And introducing Seize the Cure and what it's about, I want to give you a sense of the sentiment behind having epilepsy. The show is about having epilepsy or having a child or someone you love with epilepsy. And the song that I'm going to open the show with was made with my son as an inspiration, who has refractory epilepsy. And it gives details as to the challenges, the hardships, the limitations, the feelings behind having a child with epilepsy. So listen to Complicated by Ro, also known as Rejuvenated Observant Wise.
Zero.
Warm. Yeah, it's that real life stuff. I want y'all to close your eyes, meditate, and listen. It's all facts. Real life. Real life. It's complicated though, listen. So many dark days and cold nights. This deep depression got me really stressing. Trying to fight these demons in my head. Looking in the mirror, soul searching, contemplating. They telling me to end it all. Dear Lord, I can't take this pain no more. I swear I hate this epilepsy stuff. It breaks my heart every time he have another seizure. All these medications and he's still convulsing. I wish I could take his illness away so he could live a normal life. Why is life gotta be so complicated? So complicated. So complicated. Listen. They say when it rains, it pours. I guess that's why I feel these raindrops rolling down my face. Machine in his chest, it ain't working, no. These doctors said in 6 months we would see a change for the better, but things only got worse. I swear it's like a curse. It must be hell on earth. At times I want to put my fist through the wall. Every day I ask the Lord why he gotta suffer for. Every time I hear a loud noise or something drop, I'll be ready to race to his room, thinking this another one. Lord, why him and not another one? He ain't my flesh and blood, but I love him like he my own son. I pray that one day, someday soon, his seizures will come to an end. Why it's so complicated?
I'm born, I'm bred, I'm changing my direction instead. My heart, my head, my reasoning is complicated. I'm born, I'm bred, I'm changing my direction instead. My heart, my head, my reasoning is complicated. I'm born, I'm bred, I'm changing my direction instead. My heart, my head, my reasoning is complicated. I'm born, I'm bred, I'm changing my direction instead. My heart, my head, my reasoning is complicated.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is TJ Vita, also known as Tara Gibson, and I am the host of this show, which is called Seize the Cure radio show on the Bomb Baby Radio Network. And I want to thank everybody for tuning in. This is the first show of many, and the purpose of this show is to shed light on epilepsy awareness and also to give support to the artists that show support to epilepsy awareness. Seize the Cure, we started in 2017 with an intention of having a one-time event, and now it's grown to become an organization. In 2020, I was nominated to represent the Bronx with Seize the Cure in spreading epilepsy awareness. And Seize the Cure has been highly supported and under the umbrella of the Epilepsy Foundation of Metropolitan New York. We've also recently partnered with UCB, and what has started as a one-time concert and forum has turned to a number of events that were concerts / forums. And we've also had workshops, and we will start trainings online and in person, as well as additional workshops. And of course, today's show, which is the first of many and will happen monthly. What you will find on this show is we will be recording, interviewing, should I say, a number of people who suffer from epilepsy, families who have a loved one with epilepsy, medical professionals, or any kind of individual that has something to offer to epilepsy awareness. There is so much that comes with epilepsy. And the reason that I started this is because my son, who is 18 years old now, has epilepsy. He has refractory epilepsy, and his epilepsy is to this day not controlled. We've had him on a number of medications. He's had surgery, which is the VS surgery. We've tried everything, and we're trying to get a grasp on his seizures. But along the way, his convulsions started about 5 years ago. And in that time, I have personally struggled emotionally, physically, and mentally with my son. I have seen what epilepsy does firsthand. I myself have epilepsy. My epilepsy is completely controlled. I don't have convulsions, thank God, and I don't have convulsions. When I do have them, it's on rare occasion. But with my son, having a child with a condition that is life-threatening and is life-changing is the most emotionally draining thing that you will ever have to deal with. And with epilepsy comes the seizures, with injuries, the cognitive delay, the emotional challenges, the academic challenges. And now he's at a point in his life that he's transitioning into adulthood, and that has created a whole new set of challenges. So my whole purpose for starting this organization, which I'm proud to say has become a 501c3, my purpose is to spread awareness in a different way that other organizations spread awareness. It's not about the treatment, it's not about the condition itself, but it's more about what it's like to have a child or a loved one with epilepsy, because when you're taking care of a child with a condition that's life-threatening, your whole life is changed. Your whole plan, your original plan on what you wanted for yourself and your family completely changes. And there's not enough support for the parents with children with epilepsy. There's not enough awareness as to what the parent is going to be dealing with. You know, doctors are very simple. They diagnose, they try treatment. Everything with treatment is trial and error. The treatments create a whole bunch of other side effects that you have to deal with. On top of that, the brain injuries and the effect the seizures have on the brain. Parents are not instructed as to what they can expect. Worst case scenario, safety procedures in the house, devices that are used and needed for the child's safety. It's so much under it that doctors aren't there to tell you that. And this is what Seize the Cure is here to tell you. So I wanted to start a radio show that would support those that have epilepsy, those that have a loved one with epilepsy, anyone that is a professional that has something to offer in information for the epilepsy community. You do not have to have epilepsy to show concern or to, gain knowledge of this condition. You never know when someone you love may be diagnosed with epilepsy. You never know when someone you love may have a seizure. You don't have to have epilepsy to have seizures. So part of Seize the Cure, a big component is seizure safety. So that being said, this show will air on Sundays at 3 p.m. and I will have interviews. I will have discussions. We will play music from artists who have shown not just Seize the Cure, but epilepsy awareness support. We've had about 6 events, and I have some artists who are faithfully at every event, and then we have new ones coming in each time. So it's very important that we all band together and show support to each other, because we just never know. What I do want to say is you can tune in. I'm going to have the show virtual as well as audio, and you're going to tune in. It's always going to be on the same network, the Bomb Baby Radio Network. So without going any further, I want to introduce, I'm going to go right into my first interview. This gentleman is not only an artist, but in the little time that I've spoken to him, he has shown huge support to epilepsy awareness. And this is something important because I get a lot of people that portray themselves to be interested in being part of the cause and part of helping, or they claim that they have epilepsy, but come to find out it's not legit. So it's the hardest thing is trying to wean out who's for real and who's not. And this person has been monumental in supporting Seize the Cure. He has epilepsy. He has convulsions on a daily basis, and his music is his release. So I wanted to have him as my guest on the first show. So just in a few minutes, we'll be right back. Stay tuned so you can see the first interview. Okay, everyone, we are back. Show in a very, very long time. As I said earlier, I started the show with the intention of going every month, and that seemed to be the hardest thing to do given the personal situations that I was going through as well as COVID, but we are back. And I wanted the first show, I didn't want to waste any time. I wanted to come right in with an interview, and I wanted to interview truly an epilepsy survivor, an advocate now, as well as a warrior on so many levels. As many of you know, I get a lot of, messages with people saying that they relate to having epilepsy. And unfortunately, a lot of those are not valid. There's other intentions behind those messages. So I've had to take a lot of time in screening who I'm having as a part of not only the show, but as a part of Seize the Cure period. There are many people that suffer from epilepsy, and it's not anything to play with. It's a lot more serious than people take it to be. And not only is it a life-threatening condition, but it's a life-changing condition, not only for the person who has it, but for the family, especially the caregiver, whether you're a parent or you're a spouse, or if you're a child taking care of your parent. So this show, I wanted to start this first show. We're doing it in May because it's our, 2017 we started. So this is our anniversary. May is the anniversary month, and I wanted to start it with the radio show. So for my guest on this show, I have Steve, also known as Solo Nitty, who is a recording artist. And he also want to introduce him to the show, and we're going to dedicate this whole show to talking about epilepsy and how it's affected his life. How you doing, Solo Nitty?
I'm doing good.
Okay, can I call you Steve or Stevie or Steven? Which one do you prefer?
Steve.
Got it. welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So tell me a little bit about yourself and, you know, what you do in music, as well as your situation with having epilepsy.
Well, I'm 41 years old from Nashville, Tennessee, originally from Boston, Mass. And I'm a recording artist. I do rap music, you know, but I also help a lot of people out, a lot of artists. I also do CD covers and all that. I had to do everything myself because, you know, me having epilepsy. So, you know, I had seizures every day, every single day. I mean, they wake me up. In my morning when I get up, a seizure wakes me up every day. I used to have 20 seizures a day. Now I'm down to 5. And, you know, I've hit my head, smashed my face. I've done all kinds of stuff you can think of, you know, and really, I mean, it scares me because, you know, the way I'm getting woken up is a lot of ways. These actors and stuff died from epilepsy in their sleep, you know. So that worries me, you know what I mean? But I keep moving on, you know. I just keep moving on.
How long, I have a lot of questions.
Go ahead.
Some I already have planned, and just in the little bit that you spoke, just registered a few more questions. How long have you had seizures? And when you say that you seizures throughout the day, when it was 20 and now went down to 5, what kind of seizures are you talking about exactly?
I have generalized seizures. So I have every single seizure there is. I have catatonic, I have grand mal, I got petite, I got them all. I have them all. You know, so sometimes you can see 4 seizures in me. You know what I mean? It takes 4 minutes for my seizures to go.
Wow. And when did that start? How old were you?
That started about 6 years ago. I hit my head at work, and I fell out and hit my head at work and on the metal ramp. And that's when it began.
Wow. So it was a trauma-related cause to it.
Yes.
And before you hit your head at work, everything was fine. You had no kind of, they never saw any kind of, the petite mal seizures as you speak of?
No, I never had a seizure at all. I was fit. I went to the gym, everything. I mean, this has turned my life upside down. I can't do what I want to do. You know, I mean, for instance, rapping, I do my shows, but you can ask any of my fans. I have a seizure right after my show.
All the time?
All the time. All the time.
Is it the lighting in the show? Because I know I have epilepsy myself, nowhere near as bad as you have. Mine is more controlled, but I know the one thing that's a trigger for me is the lights on the stages, because I've had that experience where I've had to tell them to lower it, or I couldn't perform because it was too much.
No, it's not the lights.
You think that's what it is?
No. My seizures come from emotions. My triggers are emotions.
Like anger,
crying, whatever. Sadness. My seizures come from emotions. That's why they are trying to get the vagal surgery for me, because no medicine is helping me. None. I've been on Dilantin, I've been on the other book. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I've been on everything. Right now I'm on the highest Dilantin can go.
Have they done an EEG on you?
Yeah.
And they found that it's epilepsy?
Yeah. They've done 3 EEGs.
They're looking vagal. That's the vagus nerve stimulator. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
Okay.
That's
I have that. My son has that.
That's what I'm waiting on.
Okay. Yeah, they usually you're a candidate once you've failed responding to medications.
Right.
A number of medications at that.
Right. That's what I have. None of the medications they've given me it would work.
And when you have the seizures in your sleep, if you don't mind me asking, are you aware of them, or does someone see them happening? How does
my wife sees them. I'm not aware of them. Not. They just wake me up right out of my sleep. When I'm waking up, I'm coming out of a seizure.
Wow. That's, oh, okay. And what's the longest seizure you've ever had that you know of? Obviously, you don't know the timing for every
5
everyone.
minutes. 5 minutes, and I had to go to the hospital.
What are some of the injuries that you've had from the seizures?
I've not hit my head. I've banged my head up a couple times. I have 4 traumatic brain injuries due to the seizures. I mean, I'm busted my nose. I blackened my eyes. I busted my lip. I knocked teeth out. I knocked my teeth out because I have violent seizures.
My son has the violent seizures as well. Well, when you say violent, let me backtrack a second. What do you mean by violent seizures?
Like going real bad, jerking real bad, and being all over the place, like actually hitting yourself in the face and mouth. That's how I've lost my teeth, and I'm, you know what I mean. So, I mean,
You foam at the mouth.
yeah, foam at the mouth and everything. Yeah,
If some of the questions are too much, you can stop me.
No. I bite my tongue. I bit my tongue several times. I bit it in half. Matter of fact.
Oh boy, I completely relate to you on on 2 levels. I'm not even going to compare myself to what you're dealing with because mine are well controlled. I have more the absent seizures now.
Yeah.
When I do have a convulsion, it's on rare occasion, and it's usually a long time of built up triggers, such as no sleep, stress. My biggest trigger, stress, that's like the icing on the cake for me. But it's nowhere near what you're going through. My son goes through it just like you, with the exception of having them every day. And this is why I wanted to do this show, because I wanted people to hear and see how serious this is. It's not just me speaking. You're in an even worse. My son, who doesn't have them every day, and he's older and he's large. He's tall and he's a good weight. He's like a football player size.
I'm 6'1", 240 pounds.
Like him, yeah. And so your wife, how does she handle when you're having a seizure? She's the one that physically has to handle you?
Yeah.
God bless her. I definitely want to speak to her, because aside from people who have epilepsy don't talk about it, the people that deal with the people who have epilepsy don't talk about it. It's kind of like we just do what we have to do,
Right. Yeah. I understand.
But
she's
I know
kind of shy, so I don't know. She's like kind of backing out a little bit because she's shy. I mean, okay. She's very shy, but she did do this thing. She did this reading thing, and it's on where she talks about me having seizures and everything. It's a recording of her speaking.
Okay. Everyone's listen. Whatever works for her works for me. We'll figure out a way. The point is,
she's gonna get emotional. I know that she's gonna start crying and stuff because that's just how it is with me. You know what I'm saying? She sees me go through that every single day. You know what I mean? She can never leave. She don't leave my side at all.
Very, very
even when I go, I can't even go to Walmart because I've had 7 seizures in Walmart.
Is there something there in particular that is a trigger for you?
That was where I had my first seizure and the ambulance and everything. All that happened over there. But every time I go, I get real hot. What did he say? He said it's when you don't want to be around a whole bunch of people. You know what I mean? Sociable, antisociable, or something like.
Maybe like it's antisocial is more the psychological term. I think that sounds more like when you get overheated if you're in a crowded place.
Yeah.
So it sounds like
I'm
You
just
could be-
around the people. With me was when I had my seizure at Walmart. I woke up to a whole bunch of people laughing at me. You see what I'm saying? So I don't want to be around people, period. So when I go to Walmart, I think about that day when people were laughing at me, and I'd be like, they're looking at me, they're staring at me. It is psychological. It messed my head up. Because this is something not to laugh at. No, and nobody having a seizure should be getting laughed at, period. Because I guarantee you, you can't go through what I go through on a daily basis. I mean, my doctor said I'm very strong. He said this is the worst case he has seen in a long time.
Well, you're very lucky on a number of cases. You're very lucky that you have your wife,
Oh, yeah.
you know. Unfortunately, and I'm just going to keep it 100% when I say this, there's always going to be knuckleheads that either laugh because they don't know enough to understand. And then you have those who are scared and their only way of dealing is laughing. It's an automatic reaction for some people that are scared of what they're seeing. And then you have those that just don't care. You know, unfortunately, there's, you know, people with epilepsy, such as the type that you have, it's something that's forever. It's not going anywhere. There may be times that it calms down and it's able to be managed where the seizures are the symptom of the epilepsy. So depending on the type of seizure that you have, they may be able to get it controlled or minimized to as low as possible, the severity and the amount of seizures. But you can be seizure free for years. And I've seen cases with this where you're seizure free for years and then all of a sudden you have one. I know someone who's advocating for epilepsy he's been seizure free for a long time, and just a few weeks ago he had his first seizure after all these years. So there's a difference between people who have seizures and they grow out of it, because there's a lot of situations like that. And then you have those with epilepsy who are diagnosed with the condition because it's something that it's always going to be with you. It's just how to manage it.
Right.
But it's nothing to laugh at. And this is what I've experienced with my son. And this is why I'm doing Seize the Cure for people such as yourself, who not only do we need to teach other people, you know something, if you would have been to some of the events that we had a table at with information on epilepsy, you would be horrified at some of the things I've heard people say. And it's ignorance. That's all it is. It's ignorance.
Right.
You know, if it's not cancer or AIDS or diabetes or breast cancer, nobody talks about it. And unfortunately, there's a lot of people that don't necessarily have epilepsy, but they have seizures because they do drugs.
Right.
In certain areas, that's what people automatically think when they see someone convulsing. They don't know it's a seizure. I didn't even know what my son was having a seizure. I didn't know what I was looking at.
Some of the doctors, man, that's the first thing they said. Are you on drugs? Are you on this? Are you on that? When I have my seizures, and you know what I mean? Because I actually died. I have died 3 times. There's no lie. It's record. It's record. I died 3 times due to seizures. I hit my head and everything else. But now I have, like I said, I have brain damage to this now because of epilepsy. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, there's a lot more that comes with the seizures than just having a seizure, because you can hurt yourself really bad. You can hit yourself. You can hit your head on the tub and die. You know what I mean? Yeah. And like I said, I'm scared to go to sleep every night. I'm scared to go to sleep.
Do you have something on the bed?
I know there's people out there that got it worse than me.
I've heard of cases where, to me, one is enough though. You know, it's when you're suffering injuries, and forget the physical injuries, but your brain could only take so much electricity going through it before there's some kind of damage. You can't notice looking at someone that they have epilepsy, you know?
No, you
I
can't.
look at you and you look normal to me. You look at my son, he looks normal. And then what happens is, because you look normal, there's an expectation of you acting and speaking and understanding things normally, which someone
Right.
with epilepsy has memory. How is your memory? Do you feel your memory has
I've lost my short-term memory. It's gone. I got long-term memory, but my short-term memory is gone. And now I'm zoning in and out of like when I have conversations with people, I zone out for like, you know, a minute, and then I don't even know what the heck he was talking about. You know what I'm saying? So,
absence seizure?
you know what I mean? So I mean, like I said, hopefully that vagus stimulator will help me some. I know it ain't gonna help me, you know, a whole lot, but at least control some of this. That's what the doctor wants. That's what he hopes too. But like he said, this is the worst case I've seen in a long time.
My son had it in 2017, I think 2018. I can't even tell if it's helped, to be honest with you. I honestly can't tell. He's starting to go back to the old pattern of happening a few, you know, more than once a month.
Yeah.
The good thing is that, well, I see a difference since he's been on the CBD oil, which brings me to my next question. Have you ever considered either CBD or medical marijuana?
Yeah, I mean, no, not medical marijuana. I won't mess with that crap. But yeah, CBD oil. I mean, you know, we've tried the gummies. You know what I'm saying? But it really didn't do nothing. I mean, you know what I mean? But who knows what was in them gummies? Who knows if it was a real thing too? You know what I'm saying? I mean, right now in Tennessee, we can't get none of that.
You can't get any CBD oil?
I gotta go to Kentucky and get it.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with the laws over there, but
yeah, they're tight. And then, you know, they're not passing the marijuana law. They had already denied it and all that already.
I would have thought it would be legal over there.
No.
Interesting.
No, not at all.
So what are the things that you're limited to? That like if you didn't have epilepsy, what would you be doing differently now that you would have been able to do that you can't do now because of the seizures?
Well, working is one of them, which I loved, you know. So, and going to the gym, working out, you know, hanging out with people, going out with my wife, you know, like we used to. This one, you know, go to the club on a Saturday night, just, you know, hang out, me and her and stuff like that. I can't. This is basically, I feel like I'm in a prison. If it wasn't for music, I'd be screwed. I'm telling you right now, I would be probably in a mental institution. Huh?
Music is your escape.
Yeah.
And their stimulator I know when my son had it, they keep upgrading it every year or every 2 years. So I'm sure it's probably a newer version to what he has. Is that the one that has the magnet where you can swipe it and stop a seizure from happening if you feel it coming? Or did they tell you how that works?
They haven't told me yet. COVID is what messed up all that for me right now. You know what I mean? So COVID screwed me on that right now. I should have got the surgery.
You said that you can't work.
No, I can't work.
It's not to get too personal, but are you getting the help that you need to take care of your condition while not working?
No.
Why is that?
Well, I was going to get my disability, but like again, COVID changed that. COVID has changed a lot of things for people, medically wise for people, like or lawyers. You know what I'm saying? Right now, the lawyers for here are still working from home, so they're not taking on a whole bunch of cases.
So they denied you the disability?
Yes, they denied me the disability. Also, they denied me the. They said the seizure thing is not enough, and I have mental problems. Yes, I do have mental problems. I have several mental problems. So my psychiatrist to sign the paperwork, and then they said it'll go through, which don't make no sense to me because epilepsy should be a disability alone.
I asked that question because for two reasons. First and foremost, there is not enough support for people with epilepsy. That is a medical condition. I think society is still stuck on the old days where epilepsy wasn't considered a condition because the world of neurology wasn't advanced or even existed at one point.
Right.
Epilepsy a long time ago was looked at as a spiritual possession of the devil but this is before neurology even existed.
Right.
And of course, in the world of psychology that existed before neurology, epilepsy was viewed as schizophrenia. You know, they're having this is if you look at the history of what seizures were viewed at before they knew enough about it. Now we're in 2021. We know epilepsy is a neurological condition. It's not even psychology. You can't take a test and prove someone has a psychological condition. But epilepsy, you do EEGs, you do all kinds of testing,
right,
and they can see that it actually exists. So why you have not received help to take care of yourself and your health and your safety when you have a condition is ridiculous. And I know exactly what you're going through because my son was denied. And they said the same exact thing, that the seizures weren't enough. So you're telling me that someone could go in with a psychiatric disorder that can't be proven on a medical exam or a test and get disability, but they can get they can get it that they can get for that, but they can't get for epilepsy.
Right.
Someone
right.
who has full-blown seizures, that's a risk. My son can't take the train. My son can't walk by himself. I've been driving him to work and he works a few blocks away because there was a time he had one by himself. Nobody was with him. He can't have, and right now he's feeling like he has to work because he needs to have some kind of income, you know? And people with epilepsy, majority of the time, if they didn't have psychiatric disorders before the epilepsy, it comes with it later on.
Right.
Your brain is having brain damage. It just goes without saying. So I don't know. It's like this is a big thing I'm advocating for. You know, I know you're in a different state. But here it's the same thing. It's like they'll deny you and say it's not enough because they're waiting for you to see if you're that serious to go appeal it and get a lawyer and all. And it's sad.
Yeah.
It's sad. It's a lot of no one told me what I was going to go through as a mother. The doctors worry about what medication works, you know, and doing their job, writing that prescription, trying to get, I'm not saying they don't care, but that's as far as their job goes. No one told me, you know what, you need to have your door from the bathroom pulled out. I had to learn that the hard way. My son is 6 feet tall. So it took him having a seizure inside the bathroom and blocking the door because our doors don't swing out. You have to push them in. We couldn't get to him.
Same here, yeah.
So these are things that I'm advocating for because this is stuff that, you know, when you are diagnosed, there needs to be support and safety.
Yeah.
I'm assuming you can't drive,
No,
correct?
No. They took my took my license.
Fine.
The doctor had the doctor.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. Well, yeah. Because unfortunately, some people know their situation and they will get behind the wheel. And you can kill yourself and someone else.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you know what the law is out there? How long do you have to be seizure free before you're able to get a license?
6 months.
Really? Wow, that's a short amount of time. I know in New York, you have to be seizure free for a year.
6 months.
And obviously you haven't been seizure free for 6 months,
No,
based on what you're telling me.
no,
Wow.
not at all.
How
I
does
haven't
the
been
mu-
seizure free since I got this crap.
So you're pretty much, what does your day look like? On an average day, what do you do?
I stay in my room. I do music when I can, and most of the time I'm resting. It depends how I feel when I wake up. If I know that I'm gonna have a bad day when I wake up. I already feel it. So I try to just rest, stay calm. You know what I mean? Just be on the computer, do my beats and music and stuff. You know, mixing, mastering, and all that, because I do all that stuff myself. You know what I'm saying? And the reason that I keep going is because I want to show people that never give up on your dream, no matter what is wrong with you. You know what I mean? That's why I keep doing music. That's why I keep putting music out.
Well, remember I spoke to you and I said, you're one that it would be great if you actually made a song talking about what it is to
I'm working on it. I'm working on it. You talked me into it.
Yeah, coming from the horse's mouth. That's where it needs to come from. Somebody who actually goes through it, you know?
Yeah.
That's why I wanted to ask you, do you feel a seizure coming ahead of time? Is there anything in particular that tells you?
Sometimes I do. Sometimes I do, and sometimes I don't. When I do, I get this weird smell. I don't know what it is. It's just it's awful. The smell. I can't. It's something I never smelled in my life. You know what I mean? And once that happens, I have a seizure.
Have it right away, or do you smell it for a while? Like, are you able to get yourself in a safe
Most of the time,
position?
I have no. Huh?
Are you able to get yourself in a safe position when you do smell that aura, or?
I can't hear you breaking
You
up.
froze. Hear me now? Hello?
You froze.
I froze? You froze to me. I hear you though. Do you hear me now? Oh,
You
boy.
froze. You hear me?
You hear me now?
Yeah, you froze.
I'm still frozen to you?
No, not no more. You were.
Okay. Good old technology.
You were
I love
asking
it.
if I get myself in a safe position before I have the seizure. It
Yeah, are
depends.
you able to? Yeah.
It depends where I'm at. I mean,
So sometimes it happens right away.
it comes right away. Like I said, sometimes I do know it's gonna happen, but most of the time, like 80% of the time, I don't know a seizure's coming.
Well, one more question. How long does it usually take on average for you to come out of a seizure? I don't know. That's something you would have had to have heard from your wife probably.
Yeah,
But does it take? Yeah.
it takes me a while. It takes me a while. You know what I mean? Because I mean, like when I have a seizure, I'm down on the bed for a couple hours. You know what I mean? It takes me a while to come back, like really come back. You know what I mean? But yeah, I'm down for hours.
When you first open your eyes after a seizure and you see your wife, do you know who she is right away, or it takes you time? Well, everybody who's watching or listening, you know, this is the real deal. This is exactly what it's like having epilepsy or having someone you love with epilepsy. It's dangerous is not even the word. You know, it's always a matter of wondering when the next one's going to come, how it's going to come, what's going to happen from it. And you have to live your life based off of either protecting yourself as much as possible from having one in a dangerous situation, or being there for someone you love that the last thing you want to do is walk in and they hurt themselves and you weren't there to help them.
Right.
When we finish this, I'm going to, go into break, and I'm actually going to play your music on today's show. And I want to thank you because you've been extremely supportive. We just started talking maybe a few months back, and you've already, showed huge support to Seize the Cure. It's not easy to talk about. I get that. Getting people to talk about this is very hard.
That's the problem.
Yeah. Because there's only so much 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 people could do.
Right. Everybody needs to speak up. Everybody that has it needs to speak up, really, because we can't be shut out no more. People need to know about epilepsy. You know what I mean? We're warriors. So let's be warriors and come together as one and take care of this problem.
Absolutely. And we spoke. I plan to, have you a part of all the things coming up with Seize the Cure. I'm working on a lot of stuff. And there's people I've known years that haven't done anything to help or support, but you, in a matter of a couple of months, anything I ask you, you take pride in it, and I really commend you for talking about it, because I'm sure the more we speak, someone else will open up.
Right.
I always say, when I did events, and even if we didn't have a lot of people, or even if I have 500 people, if I reach one person, I did my job.
Exactly. That's how I feel too. The same way.
So,
can I say one more thing?
Absolutely, yeah.
You know what hurts me the most? I'm gonna tell you what hurts me the most. It's the babies and epilepsy. I know what I go through. So imagine a little tiny thing going through what we go through. Seizures. You know what I mean? That, as I've always told my wife, do anything in this world, I would take all the seizures away and take them for myself, from the babies and the little kids. For real, I feel so bad for them.
Because you said you were how old again?
I'm 41.
Yeah. So your seizure started while you were an adult.
Exactly.
And I'm going through the whole transition where my son started while he was a teenager. Those are already difficult years. Yeah. So now he's transitioning into adulthood, and he's transitioning into adulthood with limitations and delays in certain things, such as his memory. And like I said, people look at him, and unless you look like you have a condition, which is horrible to say, but if you don't look like you have a condition, people have it normal, and you're just supposed to act, think, and understand things on a normal end, and you just can't. Your brain's been fried when you think about it. My son's had close to 500 seizures already in the past 4 years.
I've had a lot. I don't know how many. I haven't counted. I mean, I know one time I had 55. So I mean, right after another.
Do you have any? Has the doctor ever told you about certain devices, like for the bed or something to alert about you having a seizure, or any kind of devices to help the safety situation?
No, he hasn't said nothing.
Because there are a lot. They have a number of devices that are for people with epilepsy that either alert the person, the caregiver, that there's something happening. They have something for the bed, because what you were talking about is SUDEP, which is sudden unexpected death in people with epilepsy. So that's what you were talking about with certain actors. The most recent one was he was pretty young. From the Disney, yes.
Yeah.
He died in his sleep, and it came out that he had epilepsy. It just wasn't talked about. And they have something that goes under the bed that detects you having a seizure and the alarm goes off and alerts everybody in the house.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Well, I gotta check
Now,
into that.
not only is it sad that you haven't been told about certain, that's just one that I'm talking about, but there's so many things that's available. But you know what the problem is? Not only are doctors not telling you this, or at least there's no advocates to guide people who are just diagnosed and what could happen from what they have, but they're highly expensive.
Oh, okay.
And I have a huge issue with that. I don't believe anyone should not have something that could save their life because they have a condition they didn't ask for,
Right.
because they can't afford it.
Wow, that's
And I'm
crazy.
one of them. I looked into it for my son. I said, I can't afford this. You know, it's, even if you could afford it, you shouldn't have to pay for something. Nobody signed up for this.
Right, exactly. I mean, the other, they don't treat this as a medical problem. They don't. I
That's the
mean,
problem. Mhm.
yeah, they hand you the Dilantin, whatever, 8 different pills, whatever. You know what I'm saying, and it says, okay, take these. They don't work, dude. Sometimes medicine don't work. It's not. Sometimes medicine is not the cure. Man.
Right.
You know what I mean? I know I'm gonna have this for the rest of my life. So, you know, that would be nice to have something under the bed to alert somebody or something like that,
They
or
have it.
have some.
I'm gonna send you some information on what I researched. And we're gonna talk further on that. There's a lot. And this again, and this is what I'm trying to advocate for families. It doesn't have to necessarily be families in the Bronx. I'm at the point that I'm like, you know what?
Right.
The laws may be different, but we all need the same thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Whether you're in Oklahoma or you're in New York or you're in Chicago, it doesn't matter. If you're epileptic, you need things for safety to ensure that it's bad enough you can't live a normal life.
Right, exactly.
You know, so, but I definitely want to thank you. You know, time is running out.
All right, no problem. Anytime you need something, you know where I'm at.
Absolutely. And hopefully, you know, I'll speak to your wife, you know, outside of this show, and maybe I could get her to open up a little bit. And, you know, it's fine if she's shy though. I get it. Maybe hopefully one day she'll be able to come on, and I would love to hear what she has to say as well.
Yeah, I keep talking to her about it.
But before we leave, I want you to let everyone know where they can find you, because you are an artist and you want people to listen to your music outside of the show.
You can find me on all platforms. It's under Solo Nitty Gritty. If you want to find me on Facebook, it's Solo Nitty Gritty. Instagram is Nitty Gritty Solo, and Twitter is Solo Gritty.
Very good. And soon they'll be finding you on Seize the Cure too, because you've been doing a lot of supporting, and I really thank you for
And
that.
I would love to do so. I would love to support, because, like I said, I'm living with it. So, you know, it's the best thing to do is support. That's what we need to get other people to do. We need other people to support, you know, the cure. You know what I mean? You know, so especially what you're doing that, I think it's awesome. I really do.
Well, thank you for being on the show. Everyone stay tuned. I'm about to play Solo Nitty's music, and you heard where you could find him. So let's take this break and listen to this music, and we'll be back. Well, I hope everyone learned something from my first guest on this show. You know, speaking with him and learning about what he goes through on a daily basis really had me think about the situation with my son. You know, my son has, they're not daily. There's times that he had convulsions, you know, 2 days back to back. One time it was 3 days back to back. But this guest, Steve, he actually has seizures regularly. And as you heard him say, his wife is his biggest blessing in his life, because if it wasn't for her, you know, people with epilepsy struggle with having support. Unfortunately, there's not enough awareness. Unfortunately, having convulsions brings so many safety risks that people just don't want that responsibility. And you'll find that parents with children with epilepsy don't it's very hard for them to get a babysitter. And then of course, when you have your child grow into a certain age where they technically shouldn't need a babysitter, you still do because of safety. And I struggle with that to this day. It's the hardest thing. I don't even know what my answer is as to how I deal with it, but I do know that starting Seize the Cure has gave me some kind of control as to helping others in ways that no one was able to help me. And I had to learn things along the way, because I'm the kind of person that when it comes to my kids or anyone that I love, if there's something that comes up, I'm researching, I'm figuring out what's available to me. And because I had the time and the intelligence to do that, and the resources and awareness to do that, I want to share that with other families. You know, people who have children with epilepsy cannot have a regular life. You know, if your child, I keep saying but technically you don't know. If your child has epilepsy but doesn't have convulsions, there are different types of seizures. They may not have the convulsions where they're falling out and it's a safety risk, but a lot of our children are being misdiagnosed with ADHD and behavioral issues because the symptoms are very similar to epilepsy. And this is something else that needs to be stressed. And it's happening a lot with our minority children. Automatically, parents are being referred to having their child evaluated for a learning disability or behavioral disorder. But realistically, they need to go to a neurologist and rule out epilepsy, which is shown on the EEG. Spacing out, memory loss, hyperactivity, impulsiveness. This all has to do with seizures that you don't see the person having it, but they're there. Luckily, my parents knew enough about epilepsy because my father had epilepsy from a motorcycle accident. They knew enough that when I was daydreaming, quote unquote, that was what the complaint was from the teacher, daydreaming, they took me to a neurologist because I was showing the signs of needing an evaluation. And sure enough, the EEG showed that I have epilepsy. So it's very important that the public is aware. You know, we have school officials that need to understand what epilepsy is and know how to track if a child is having the symptoms. We have our police department that need to understand what a seizure looks like, rather than think that the person is high on drugs. And it looks very similar, believe it or not. We need everyone to be trained in seizure safety, whether you have epilepsy or not. Everyone should be trained because you never know when it's going to happen to either your family or your friends. It could be you're out partying and one of your friends drinks too much and the reaction is they have a seizure and you don't know what you're looking at. I didn't know what I was looking at when my son first had a seizure. So I want to spread that awareness, let alone I want to spread sensitivity to epilepsy awareness and the understanding that it's not as simple as it looks or as you may have heard. There's so many stigmas and myths behind it. And I'm here to clarify all that. So I do want to thank my guest for coming on the first show, which, as you have heard if you were watching, he is an artist. He goes by the name Solo Nitty Gritty, and his name is Steve. And he's going to be very active with Seize the Cure. He's been showing support and he's going to continue to show support. We will air this on the website as well. He also gave a testimony, which I'm going to put on the website. And we're going to have more guests for a number of different things to offer the epilepsy community and beyond. Part of Seize the Cure is not only the radio show, we're doing workshops, we're doing events, concerts, and we also table at other events to give out information. That being said, with the growing programs that we have coming, we are holding our first fundraiser. That's right. I said fundraiser because the first events that we had, we did not raise any money. We strictly went out there with the love and support of people in the community that we know that were able to provide their services so the events can be held. but we're at a point now that we need to raise money in order to do these programs. So if you are interested in making a donation, donations do not always have to be monetary, although it is needed, but maybe there's a service that you provide that could help with the quality of this event. It's going to be a worldwide event that we're having November 21st. And this is what the fundraiser is the kickoff to. So right now you can make a donation through our Cash App, which is $ Seize the Cure, capital SEIZE, capital THE, capital CURE. You can also make a donation through our PayPal, which is Seize the Cure, lowercase, 4, epilepsy @gmail.com. You can go to our fundraiser page, on Facebook, which is Seize the Music, Shake Epilepsy. Our Facebook page is Seize the Cure. Instagram is Seize_the_cure. I'm trying to remember all this. And of course, you can also make a donation through the website, which the website is www.seizethecure4epilepsy.com. If you are interested in making a donation, if you are interested in having your business be advertised for this fundraiser, if you're interested in attending the fundraiser, even though it's far into November and we have time, we are selling spots right now. Registration for artists to perform music of all genre, poets, comedians, dancers, whatever it is that you do that's part of the performing arts, reach out to us because there is registration to be a part of this event. And the beautiful thing about it is that it's worldwide, and that opens the doors to so many different supporters from all over the world. And I'm hoping and praying to God that this will be the events of all events. So please, if there's anything that you can contribute to this cause, it doesn't matter. Don't think it's something that is not important. Don't think it's not something that I would say yes to. Just reach out. You can find me on Facebook. My name is TJ Vita. Instagram is TJ_Vita. And of course, you can email me at seizethecure@gmail.com. Seizethecure 4 epilepsy. I want to thank everyone for tuning into this show, and stay tuned because the next show we're going to have, I have 2 guests that I have lined up for the same show. So make sure you stay tuned, and thank you for tuning in.